how speedy you can run.
Lowry, you good?
Yeah.
All right. What has Martell Irby brought to the team?
Oh man, Martell brings just a unique passion that being around doing coaching a number of players over 42 years, he is certainly, I would have to argue, one of the most passionate football players that just loves ball, which is one of my number one criteria when I'm looking for athletes. You know, I don't care about height, weight, size. Obviously, we all would love to coach Chris McAllister's, you know, but they all, Daryl Lewis was a great player for me too at 5'8 3/4. But the common thread with all the great players that I've had is they love ball and they play with great passion, which spreads into the other 10 on the field. It's infectious, which moves to our sideline, which will move then up into the stands, is what players like that bring to you. Things you can't measure on a piece of paper, on height, weight, speed. It's just a unique quality that, you know, he's going to be successful in whatever he does.
Coach, can you take a step toward the mic?
Okay.
Appreciate it.
All right.
After coaching for so many years, what allows you to have so much energy, passion?
You know, I'm just blessed that my profession is a hobby. You know, I've just stumbled on a hobby that I love. I'm around young people with goals that keeps me young. I'm involved in a game that it's an intellectual man's game that you get to transfer knowledge to younger people. I'm really an educator is what I am, and I just get to teach a real cool subject. And then it's like recess for me when I get in between these white lines. I can't do this anywhere else. Get to run around, act a fool during practice, before games. You know, that adrenaline that you get, and there's nothing like a victor's locker room post game. And so I've just been very blessed, and as long as I can help in some small way, the University of Arizona, I'll continue to do it.
What is your core message as an educator of football?
You know, I think this game is all about there's so many base values that you learn in the game of football that you will transfer to the next team or organization that you're going to be part of. The idea of putting your ego in your back pocket and being part of a team. The idea that you got to be able to get up at 6 a.m. in the morning, you know, and be passionate about your work when others are sleeping. It's the idea that you have to learn to compete with not only the men in your room to play for, but also on Saturdays against another. So the idea that all those principles that you learn on the gridiron, you're going to learn at the next organization you are. Hopefully it's another NFL team, but for most of us, it's just going to be another company. That is another team. That's another locker room. And so now all the things that we're trying to teach here will still carry you on in life. And yet you get to have some really cool experiences along that journey. You know, you get to be in a locker room. You get to jump on a bus and have police escort going down the road and embrace those things and be humble that you're in that position. And then once you get to the next life, just transfer all these things that hopefully we have taught you to the next world.
What have you liked out of your defensive backs competing against the receivers and just those one-on-one battles every day?
Yeah, what I'm really encouraged about this team is we constantly talk about being one day better. We're blending some new ideas, concepts from where I was at other universities, and just being part to help Coach Nansen is what he's installed here. But what I see is when I say, hey, we got to work safety, we got to be in the middle of the field better. We go out, we watch the tape the next day, I see it happening. When I'm talking in a room, I see us trying to correct what we ID'd the day before. If we continue to do that, and we trust the coaching, we trust the process that you're building in a two-a-day, I'm really encouraged with that. Because it's when you don't have confidence in the teacher or whatever it may be, you got issues. But I really appreciate the defensive back that they have embraced what we're trying to do here. Everything's not perfect. I've done this 42 years. I'm hunting the perfect practice. I'm hunting the perfect game. Haven't found it yet, but that doesn't mean I keep trying to hunt for it and keep that standard where it needs to be within our room.
When would you guys like to know or have an idea of who's going to be the starting safeties?
Yesterday. But the good news about that is every place I've been, you want competition. All right, because competition keeps raising the standard. So, you know, I shared earlier, Stooks, get used to the name. I've been around a lot of outstanding players. So Stooks has emerged as a starter. The good news when you got a young man like that, like I couldn't challenge Chris McAllister that so-and-so, I'm not going to put out a name there, is going to beat you up, because he's not, and Chris knows it. But I could say you're competing with Champ Bailey, who's going to be the first DB picked coming out. But Chris is like the great competitor. He's competing with himself already. And that's what Stooks does, okay? He understands that he is above right now. He's playing very, very well, all right? But he is still trying to create a reputation for himself, still gaining respect of our locker room. Next job is to gain the respect on the West Coast, the voters for all PAC. Next job is to gain the respect of the country. You got to stack numbers, interceptions, things like that. Your final stop is getting the respect of the NFL. So there is a tier with that. So the competition between Gunnar, it's very healthy, which is what you want. You don't want combative competition. It's a healthy competition. So I'm rolling those three guys through, Gunnar, Dalton, and IT, because they're all going to play. They all bring some different value. Some games one may play more than the other. Got to find a role for Irby. He brings something to the table. Obviously, real physical nature with an infectious attitude. So this is what the game's fun. I got to make some decisions on where do we go from here.
I mean, is there a correlation?
Last question.
Is there a correlation with when you first got here with Dick and the growing of the program with Jed as he tries to grow this program?
Yeah, very much so. You know, as we were, as you would know, and as average as we could be, right? 4, 4, and 3. And at that time, we took over where it was different. Jed took over a program that was not a winning program, okay? And so he has now got his people in. They've bought into everything that he has done. We took over a program where the head coach, because of his success here, went to USC, which is one of the blue blood programs in college football. So now we had to come in as a new staff, and everybody knew Dick wasn't the first choice. What was he, 4? I think they went, Sheridan was 1, Earl Bruce was 2, Bicknell, I think, was 3, and then we end up with Dick. And 87, if you have an accent, if you think I have an accent now, you should have heard me in 1987. I mean, Chuck and them thought they were some guy from somewhere else is coaching them. So we had to gain the respect of that team, you know, because they just finished with a very successful. It's different in that respect. But what Jed and Dick did do is they continued to build. It was about the team and us. And that's where there's the common thread I see between the two coaches.
All right, that's
All right, I appreciate you guys. Thank you, guys.